In this class, let us study about algebraic expressions. Let us start with some basic terms. The first term we learn today is a constant. A constant is any quantity which has a fixed numerical value. So what does the numerical value mean? It means any number which is fixed. Can you think of such numbers? For example, the distance from Earth to Sun, that is 93 million miles, which is fixed, right? It does not change. Now this brings us to our next term, which is a variable. A variable is the opposite of constant. If constant is a number, a numerical value which is fixed, variable is a numerical value which keeps on changing. In your surroundings, can you think of such numbers which keep on changing? For example, your age changes every year, your weight, your height. These are numbers, numerical values which keep on changing. Now, what if I assign a letter, an alphabet to my age or to any variable, anything that changes? For example, my age keeps on changing, right? So what if I denote my age as X? How will that help me? Instead of saying the age I will be after 10 years, I can just say X plus 10. Instead of saying the age I was 2 years back, I can say X minus 2. And if my mother is 2 times my age, I can say 2X. So by assigning alphabets or letters to variables, it makes us easier. It makes our calculations easier. Now this brings us to the next term we are going to learn today, which is in fact our topic, algebraic expressions. What are algebraic expressions? They are this sort of expressions which have constants and variables in them, and the 4 operations which you already know: addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. It involves those 4 operations and constants and variables. For example, some of the algebraic expressions look like this. This is an example, and again this is an expression. These are all algebraic expressions. What do they have? They have constants and variables in them, and they have addition, subtraction, multiplication and division in them. Now let me ask you a question. You see the addition sign here, you see the subtraction sign here, but where is the multiplication sign? Here you do not see the multiplication or the division sign anywhere, right? So this is where the multiplication sign comes. This term 7x square y is actually 7 into x into x into y. So this is how we write. When multiplying constants or numbers which are fixed is easy, right? You know what 4 into 2 is. It is always 8. But when it comes to the variables, instead of writing a into b, we always write it as ab. So but this actually means a into b. And similarly, this means 7 into x multiplied 2 times and then y. Similarly, this would be 7b square a would be 7 multiplied with b 1 time and then 2 times, because this is b raised to 2, and then a. So this is where the multiplication sign comes. You don't see it, but it is still there. And this brings us to the next term we are going to learn today, which is actually the word term itself. The term of an algebraic expression is the quantity which is separated by a plus sign or a minus sign. So you see this, I will write a bit more bigger expression. Okay. So you see this algebraic expression. So those quantities which are separated by a minus sign or a plus sign is called a term. So this will be one term. See the minus sign here? This will be the second term, this will be the third term, and this will be the fourth term. What about this algebraic expression? How many terms does it have? One term and then two terms. How many do you think this algebraic expression has? 1 term, 2 terms and 3 terms. So that is the second thing we learned today. Terms of an algebraic expression is those quantities in the algebraic expression which is separated by a plus sign or a minus sign. And next thing we learned today are the factors of a term. So take this, how many terms does it have? It has 4 terms, right? So this algebraic expression has 4 terms. So consider the first term. All the things that make up that first term are called its factors. How many factors? This is 7 into x into x into y. So this term, this particular term has 4 factors. Now go to the second term. And please remember, whenever you see a sign here before a term, remember that that sign belongs to the term. So this minus belongs to this term. So it is not just 2, it is actually minus 2. So minus 2, y and x. These are the factors of the second term. Now go to the third term. This is plus 8. So I will just write it as x and this is x. The third term has 2 factors. And what about the last term? Last term also has 2 factors. In this, the numbers are known as the constant factors and these variables are called the literal factors. So these are known as the constant factors, or in some book you will see that it is referred to as numerical factors, but it is the same. Numerical just means number. So constant factors or numerical factors is what we call this 7, this minus 2, this 8 and this 7. And literal factors or variable factors are this x, x and y, y and x. These are known as the literal factors. So now we come to the last term we are going to study today, which is the coefficients of a factor. So what did we learn so far? We learned about the terms of an algebraic expression, which are the quantities which are separated by a plus sign and a minus sign. So how many terms here? 4 terms. 1, 2, 3, 4. Next, we learnt the factors of a term. Now there are 4 factors. So there are 4 terms, and each term, first term, second term, third term, fourth term, and each term has factors. And what are those factors? Those are the constants or the variables which make up that particular term. So this would be 8, 2 x's and a y, and this would be minus 7 and y. These are the factors. Now we come to the last term in this, which is the coefficients of a factor. So if you take a factor, this first term has 4 factors. If you take any one factor, for example y, then the coefficient of y in the first term will be 8x square. So those will be the other quantities together with y which make up the first term. This is the coefficient of y in the first term. Now, what are the coefficient of y in the second term? In the second term, this is the second term, right? So basically leave out y and whatever else comes, that is the coefficient of y. So if you leave out y, you have minus 7. So a coefficient of any factor is the other factors which come with it. And similarly, what is the coefficient of say x? In the fourth term, what is the coefficient of x? It is minus y. And what is the coefficient of y in the second term? It would be minus 7. So that is what you mean by the coefficients of a factor. Next, we will study about 2 types of terms. Now we'll study about like terms or unlike terms. See these two terms? These are terms which have different variables. It is only the variables that count, not the sign, not the constant term, nothing. Just the variables, only the variables count. So these two are two unlike terms. Now what about 8x and minus 7x? These two are like terms. Why? Because like terms, the sign does not matter, the constant term, which are the numbers, does not matter, only the variable matters. If the variable factors are same, then they are like terms. If the variable factors are different, they are unlike terms. So, one good thing about like terms is that you can add and subtract them. But unlike terms, you cannot add, you cannot subtract. See this? 8x minus 7y, that's all, finished. There is nothing more you can do there. 8x plus 7y, again, nothing more you can do here. But 8x plus 7x. What is this? This will be 15x. It will be like 8 oranges plus 7 oranges is 15 oranges. Similarly, 8x minus 7x would be x. It is just like 8 oranges minus 7 oranges. This is actually 1x, but I will just write it as x. So, with unlike terms, you cannot add, you cannot subtract. But like terms, you can add, you can subtract. But when it comes to multiplication and division, there is like no problem. Whichever term you have, like terms, unlike terms, does not matter, you can multiply. Now let us see how to multiply like terms and how to multiply unlike terms. First I will take like terms. Before that I just wanted to mention this. See this? These two are actually like terms. They look different. But see what is this? This is actually 2x and 1y. This again is y and 2x. Why are they same? Because multiplication is commutative. 4 into 3 is the same as 3 into 4. So whatever the order of your numbers, it does not matter. So this is already in both of that you have 1y and 2x. But then see this, xy square and x square y, these are not same. These are actually unlike terms. Why is that? Because this term is x and 2 y's, but then this is 2 x's and 1 y. This is just like 18 cannot be equal to 12, right? Why? Because 18 is 2 3's multiplied with 3 into 3 into 2, but this is 2 into 2 into 3. These are two different things. So please remember, these two are not same. These two are unlike. But these two are like. They have just changed the order. Instead of writing x square y, we have written it as yx square. So please note that. Now we go on to multiplication of the terms. How do we multiply this? Multiply the constant factors first. Write the answer. See this x. See how many x there are? 1x here and 2 here. Totally you have 3 x's. Then how many y? 1y here, 1y here. So y square. This is the answer. Shall we do one more? What do we do? 8 into minus 3 would be minus 24. What about the x? 1x here, 1x here, it would be x square. Then how do we do this? First, multiply all the constant factors. Minus 2 into minus 5 would be plus 10. plus 10 into 7 would be 70. Then how many x do you have? 2x here, 1x here and 2x here. 2 plus 1 plus 2 would be 5. And what about y? 1y here, 1y here, 2 here, that would be 4. This is how you multiply the terms. Now, how will you divide? What will you do? The same thing. This would be 4. Then here there are 2x, here there is 1x. X into x by x. So that means this get cancelled. You will get only 1x remaining. And 1y here and 1y here. So 4x is the answer. Next, we will see a kind of algebraic expression which are called the polynomials. Now, the polynomials are algebraic expression where the variables have non-negative integers as their powers. That means you can have x raised to 3, a raised to 2. You can have this sort of variables. What can you not have? You cannot have something which looks like 3 by x. And why is that? 1 by x is actually x raised to minus 1. We have discussed it in detail in our exponents video. So please go through that. So now you have 1 by x is x raised to minus 1. Similarly, if you have 1 by y cube, that is actually y raised to minus 3. So we cannot have variables which look like this. And one more example. See 4x cube plus 8x square. This is fine. Why? Because look at the power of the variable. The power of the variable is a non-negative integer. Here also a non-negative integer. But now here look, this, what is this? This is actually, so here it has a negative integer. So this is not a polynomial. It is still an algebraic expression. That's fine, but not a polynomial. And why the integer part? You cannot have something which looks like this. Square root of x. What is square root of x? This is actually x raised to 1 by 2. And what about the cube root of x? You cannot have something which looks like this. What is the cube root of x? How do we write it? This is actually 1 by 3. This is not an integer. So, if you have variables which look like this, it is still an algebraic expression, but not a polynomial. Again, I will write maybe one more example to give you an idea. A by m plus, 3 by m plus 4 m. This, not a polynomial. Why? This is actually m raised to minus 1 and this is n raised to 2. What about this? No problem with this. Constants can come in the denominator. We are fine with that. But the variables need to have non-negative integer powers. So now we will go on to types of polynomials. Learn about 3 types of polynomials. A monomial, which means a polynomial of just one term. 3x, 4y, 7m square np, just one term. Next, we learn about binomials, which are algebraic expressions with two terms. 3x plus 4y, 7p plus 7p square m, 7p square m plus 49 mn and 8xy plus 9y cube x cube. The polynomials which have two terms, one term, two term. So they will have two terms. The third one is a trinomial. Trinomial is any polynomial which has three terms. this already has 2 terms. So what if I write say 9a? Now it has 3 terms. So any polynomial which has only 1 term is a monomial, 2 terms is a binomial, and 3 terms is a trinomial. Now let me ask you one question. What about this? What is this? How many terms does it have? 1 term, 2 term, 3 terms. So you would think it is a trinomial, right? But it is not. It is actually a binomial. Why is that? Did you notice these 2 terms? What about these 2 terms? These are like terms. A, 2 A's and 1 B, 2 A's and 1 B. We have just written it the other way. This is actually the same as 2A square B. So this is actually the same thing. We have just written it around. So you can add these two because you can always add like terms. So this is actually the same as 14a square b plus 8ba. So though it looks like a trinomial, it is not. It is a binomial. Similarly, one more question. What about this one? You see it has 2 terms. Is it a binomial? No. It is still a monomial because you can add these two. And what about this? This is a trinomial. Why? These are all unlike terms. It is in the basic form. You cannot make it any more. You can't change it anymore else. So now let us go on to some question answers. Now let us see how to convert these statements into algebraic expressions. Now before I start, let me tell you one thing. Watch out for some keywords. Now the words like sum or add or total, all of that means plus. The words of or product or times or multiply means multiply. The words less than or subtract from or difference, all of that means you subtract. And when you subtract, always remember you choose the word which comes after the from. That is the word which comes first. What I mean is, suppose we write subtract 10 from 2. That means 2 is the word which comes first. Always remember you take a cookie from a cookie jar. So if you need a cookie, the cookie jar has to be there first. So whatever word comes after the word from, that is the word you put first. Then the subtraction sign, then this, so this is minus 8. And similarly less than. For example, 4 less than 5. That means remember 5 is the word which comes first. So it is 5 minus 4. So please remember that. And as I said, watch out for the keywords. The words like of or times or product, all of that mean multiplication. Now look at the first thing. 5 added to 4 times y multiplied by itself. What is any number multiplied by itself? Which is 2 times that number, right? It is we have already done a video on exponents. Please watch it. So y multiplied with itself is y square. Now 4 times a number. What does the word times mean? It means multiplication. So 4 into y square. And what did we learn? When a variable comes next to another variable or constant, you do not have to write the multiplication sign. You can just write both of them together. That would mean 4y square. This would mean 4 into y into y. 5 added to 4 times y multiplied by itself. So add a 5 to it. There you have your answer. Now the third question. The product of 3/5 of x. What is 3/5? It is 3 by 5. Similarly, what is half? It is 1 by 2. What is quarter? It is 1 by 4. 3 quarters. That is 3 quarters would be 3 by 4. And 1 quarter would be 1 by 4. So 3/5 is this. What is 3/7? 3/7 would be 3 by 7. So we don't have to worry about all of that. All we have to worry is 3 by 5. 3/5 of. Of means multiplication sign. X. Again, what did we learn? When you have a variable and a constant, you don't have to write the multiplication sign. You can just write it next to the numerator, not to the denominator. Denominator is when you are dividing something, not when you are multiplying something. When you are multiplying something, it comes next to the numerator. 3x by 5. The product of, again, which means multiplied by. The product of 3/5 of x and 10. What is this? You have a 10 in the numerator, you have a 5 in the denominator. You can cut this and this would be 2 and multiply these two, it would be 6x. This is your answer. Now on to the second question. Subtract x plus 2 from y plus 2. Always remember what follows y plus 2 will come first. Then a minus sign and then here x plus 2. Now I have to tell you this thing. Whenever you have in this, whatever follows this subtraction sign, if it is more than one term, please remember to put the brackets, otherwise your answer will be wrong. Okay. Now whatever number comes here, that is whatever number which we are subtracting. This number is okay. You don't, if you want, you can put the brackets for this also, that's fine. But whatever number comes second, the number which we are subtracting, please remember, put the bracket sign, otherwise you will get the answer wrong. So that would be y plus 2. How do you open the brackets? Minus x minus 2. That would be y plus 2 minus 2, which is 0. This is the answer. This should be the answer. Now see what happens if you do not put the brackets. Suppose you are just writing it like this. Then what happens? Y plus 2 minus x plus 2, y minus x, 2 plus 2, 4. You see how that answer can go wrong? So always remember, put the brackets. Now we are on to the first question. Half of y. Half is 1 by 2, of is multiplied by y. And what do we know? We do not have to put the multiplication sign, and we also do not have to write 1y. 1y or y, it is the same. So this is actually y by 2. So half of that is understood, right? How do you write half of 4? This is how you write half of 4, right? Y by 2 less than 6 times y. So less than means what? Whatever number comes here, that should come first. So 6 times x. What did I tell you? Of times product. All of them means multiplication. 6 into x. But we do not write the multiplication sign. So that is just 6x. 6x minus y by 2 is what you want. This is your answer. Now, if the perimeter of an equilateral triangle, what do you know about an equilateral triangle? All its sides are same. So, its perimeter will be 3 into its side. Why is that? All the sides will be same. So, if say one side is 4, then what will be the perimeter? Perimeter is the sum of the sides. This is the triangle. Suppose if one side is 4, this will be 4, this will be 4. And the perimeter would be 4 plus 4 plus 4, which would actually be 4 into the perimeter is 3 into side. So the side would be what? By cross multiplying, this would be perimeter divided by 3. Right? If perimeter is 3 into side, then side would be, you cross multiply, this 3 comes to the denominator. But then what is the perimeter given as? It is given as 27a divided by 3. That means cancel, 9. So the perimeter is 9a. That is the answer you need. Now we go on to the second question. It is about a square. Now so in the last question we saw that the side of the equilateral triangle, the perimeter was 27a, the side was perimeter divided by 3, which was 9a, right? So this brings us to the next question, which is the side of a square. What is the perimeter of a square? Pretty much the same thing, like in the previous question we saw it was 3 into side, because in an equilateral triangle all 3 sides are equal. So the perimeter was 3 into side. In a square 4 sides are equal. So therefore perimeter will be, suppose this is say A. Suppose one side is A, this is A, this is A. So the perimeter will be A plus A plus A plus A, or in other words that will be 4A. So the perimeter will be 4 into side. 4 into side. But then what is the side? 3x square. That would be 12x square is the perimeter of the square. But then we have a second part in the question. What if x is minus 2? Then instead of x, put minus 2. Again, do not forget to put the bracket. So that would be 12 into 4, that would be 48 centimeter square or meter square, centimeter or meter or whatever the unit is, centimeter or meter, whatever the unit is, you get that. So this is the side of the square. And the last question here is to evaluate an expression if the value is given. So what does that mean? Wherever you have p, you put minus 4. 2, here you have p square. Do not forget to put the bracket. Again p. So this means 2 into 16. Please check out the video we made on exponents. Then you will know that minus 4 into minus 4, it will lose this negative sign. If the exponent here is even number, the base will lose its negative sign. That is why you have plus 16 there. Please check out that video. Minus and minus will become plus. So that would be 8 plus 4 plus 1, and that would be 13. 13 is our answer. Now let's quickly recap what we studied so far. We learned about algebraic expressions which have variables and constants and involves the 4 operations done on them: addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. Here you see 2 examples of algebraic expressions. In one, you will notice that all the powers of the variables are non-negative integers. So the algebraic expressions where the variables have non-negative integers as their powers, such algebraic expressions are called polynomials. Now look at the second example. 6 by x is actually 6x raised to minus 1. Similarly, 7 divided by y is actually 7y raised to minus 2. And similarly here root x is actually x raised to 1 by 2. So 1 by 2 is not a non-negative integer. Minus 1 is not a non-negative integer. So that means this is not a polynomial. It is still an algebraic expression. Why is it an algebraic expression? Because it has constants in it, it has variables in it. It is still an algebraic expression, but it is not a polynomial. It will be a polynomial only if the powers of the variables are non-negative integers. So this is an algebraic expression, not a polynomial. This is the algebraic expression which is a polynomial. Then we learned that if a polynomial has 3 terms, it is a trinomial. If it has 2 terms, it is a binomial. If it has just 1 term, it is a monomial. Then we went on to like terms and unlike terms. 2 terms which look like this, which have different variables, not the constants, but which have different variables, are called unlike terms. How will you add them? Finished. How will you subtract them? Nothing more. How will you multiply them? Multiply these 2 numbers. And then how will you divide them? This is how the 4 operations work on unlike terms. What about like terms? How do you add them? The answer is 12x. How do you subtract them? The answer is 4x. How do you multiply them? The answer would be 32x square. You are multiplying it to x into x. And how do you divide them? The answer is 2. That's all. With this we come to the end of this lesson. Inshallah, in the next lesson we will see how to add, subtract, multiply and divide bigger polynomials. These are just 1 terms, right? These are just monomials. We will go to trinomials and binomials. Until we meet again, Salam Alaikum.